Little is known about the possible origins of the American Indians who first lived in North America. Some scientists say they arrived tens of thousands of years ago during an ice age. An ice age is a time when huge sheets of ice and snow cover parts of Earth's land and sea. During the last ice age, the oceans shrank. People from Asia could walk to North America across a strip of land that linked the two continents. This land bridge is called Beringia. The first Americans. These ancient people were hunter-gatherers. A hunter-gatherer is a person who collects plants and hunts wild animals for food. They may have followed herds of huge animals, such as woolly mammoths and giant bison, across the grassy plains of Beringia. Scientists have other theories or ideas about possible origins of the first people who may have come to North America. Some think that ancient people from Europe crossed a part of the ocean that was frozen, hunting seals. Or perhaps people sailed along the coasts in small boats. 1. Identify and circle on the map the strip of land people used to cross from Asia to North America. Possible origins of the earliest Texans. The first American Indians of present-day Texas were descendants of the earliest people who came to North America. A descendant is a relative, such as a person's children and grandchildren. The ancient Texans probably reached the Texas plains more than 15,000 years ago. They too followed and hunted huge animals, mastodons and mammoths. These ancient Texans adapted to their environment. To adapt means to adjust or change. Bones, ashes, spear points, and other artifacts provide clues about how they lived. An artifact is an object made and used by people. Scientists called archaeologists study the culture and artifacts of early people. They say that hunters in Texas threw darts or spears, using atlatls or long sticks to kill large game. Back at camp, people used the animal's meat to feed many families. They used the animal's skin to make clothing and tents. Tools were made from the animal's bones. The ancient people trade resources. As the people followed the great herds across Texas, they discovered resources that they could modify. In the red mesas of the Texas Panhandle, they found flint. Flint is a hard rock that people shaped into points for spears and arrows. At first, they gathered the flint from the hillsides. Later, they mined it from quarries or open pits where people mine or dig up rocks. Today, the area is known as the Alabates Flint Quarries National Monument. Tools made from Alabates flint have been found across the Southwest and the Great Plains. Archaeologists say this shows the people traded Texas flint far and wide. Trade made it possible for people to have access to resources that could not easily be made or found where they lived. 3. Identify and underline two details on this page that explain why ancient people modified and used flint to meet their basic needs. A new way of life. As the last ice age came to an end, life in ancient Texas changed. The great beasts died out. Smaller animals, such as elk and bears, took their places. This changed the culture of the people who had once depended on mammoths and giant bison. Culture means way of life. A new culture took hold. People continued to hunt animals, but they turned more to plants for food. They modified their environment and learned to save and plant the seeds to grow food. This change to agriculture began about 2,000 years ago. Agriculture means farming. The main crops were corn, beans, and squash. People settled in small clusters to be near their fields. They dried food for later use and stored it in woven baskets and clay pots. They traded their baskets, pots, and food for other goods.